Welcome to the second ever episode of the Step by Step podcast, where we take you through the lives of the young adults striving to be successful. So today I'm sitting here with 6-time Grammy Award winner, 2-time Pro Bowler, 3-time Masters champion. Okay, none of that stuff's true. But I am sitting here with entrepreneur, investor, great dad, great husband, my mentor, Josh Carnley.
What's going on, Devin?
Not a lot, man. Hey, so I just wanted to kind of dive in to your story a little bit about how you got to where you are. So just kick it off by telling us a little bit about yourself.
Man, I started out probably around 17, 18. My brother had this great idea. He was in college, and he was like, hey, let's go hot shot some stuff. So we started hot shotting vehicles and then high-end vehicles and oil field tools and 3-car wedges, if anybody knows what that is. It's in the transport industry. And then I got involved in the pipeline industry and traveled all around the nation, lived in some pretty cool places like Boston and Baltimore and Minnesota, Iowa, Texas, all over the nation, traveling on these pipelines. Made really good money during college for some extra money. A lot of people were hanging out in the summer, and I was working my tail end off saving money. So graduated college. After that was a long road for me. I'm not one that likes to do the same thing over and over and over again. So graduated my 4 years with a safety management degree. Got my first job. Started working for a company called Fastenal as a safety outside safety specialist, and did fairly well at that. And my wife and I had a baby at a very young age at 23, and realized my salary was not enough.
Yeah.
Yes. So I was like, oh, shit. And I didn't know what to do. My wife was in school, so I was like, what do? I have to do something different. So I couldn't quit my job because, like anybody else that's watching this, you probably have car payments and a house payment. Mm-hmm. And those are all the things they tell you to go get when you go graduate college, right? Go get that house and go get that dog and go get that car. And that's probably the exact opposite of what you need to do. Yeah. To set yourself up. So I think you're realizing that now.
Yeah.
Houses are not investments. They're liabilities. They don't pay you every month. They're a good liability if you buy it right and the market stays up. But long story short, did all the things that you're supposed to do when you graduate college, and realized I didn't have enough money. So I was like, what do I do? So my brother was operating an oil field company that he started from the ground up, and he needed some. I was looking what the cheapest point of entry I could help him on, and that was portable restrooms, a.k.a. porta potties. So I didn't know anything about business. I know I needed the money. So when you have that drive and you have your daughter sitting there looking at you, that she came speak, and your wife's in school and all that, so went straight into the porta potty business and started sucking out a lot of porta potties. Did that for many of years. Built that thing up in the first 3 to 4 years and sold for a couple $1 million, and then after a little less than $2 million, and then after that, just continued to be an entrepreneur. So I worked my job and transitioned to another job. So I went from Fastenal to Airgas, and I was a national account sales manager for Airgas. So I traveled all around the nation, get off the airplane, come suck porta potties out all over the state, and then wake up and do it all over again. That might have to go to Houston, might have to go to Minot, might have to go to Williston, might have to go wherever they needed me, at Bakersfield, anywhere there was oil and gas operations going. So come back, suck out porta potties, continued to do that, build that fleet, injected all my money back in the company. I did it to make extra money, but a lot of people think, oh, if I start my own business, I'm going to get all this extra time. Yeah. I'm going to get all this extra money. Yeah. It doesn't happen overnight, folks. Anybody that says that it does is probably has never been through the cycle. Yeah. Right? It takes time. It takes a lot of reinvestment. And that's something I had to learn for myself, right? If you want to make more money in your business, in my case, I had to have more equipment out. I had to have more trucks. I had to have employees. I had to hire my first employee and go through that whole thing. So progressed over where I'm at now from 23 to 36. What is that? Like 13 years?
Yeah, roughly.
That's a long time. So, and now I'm involved with On Call with your company, OFS. We started a company together, Power Washing of Tulsa. Eventually merged that over to OFS, and you guys are going to kill it over there, by the way.
Yeah.
And now I'm with On Call, OFS, and a bunch of different real estate investments from multifamilies, single families, urgent cares, industrial buildings, commercial, residential developments. I'm trying to think. This building right here. I don't even know what else I own.
A lot of stuff.
Just keep on building it and keep on pushing. So going through the grind.
So you've been doing this for 13, 15, let's just say 15 for easy math. So you've been doing this roughly 15 years now. At what point did you decide, hey, the entrepreneurial route is the route that I want to take?
Man, that's a good one. At first, I questioned. I think any entrepreneur goes through that cycle of like, you dive off that ledge and then you're like, holy crap, there's a lot to this.
Yeah.
And I think that's why most people fail, because they dive off there thinking it's going to be easy, because they might have that education in business management or business finance, but there's so much more to it in a small business. You got to be a marketing guy, a finance guy, accounting guy, an ops guy. You got to be a counselor, a lover. You got to be, in my case, still be a husband and a dad. You know, you still want to be there for your kids. You still got to be a brother. You still got to be a son. You still got to be present in what is your everyday normal life, and then still go out there and try to kill it and give that energy to that. So I think I always knew I was going to be an entrepreneur. I never really wanted to work with anybody. That was my goal, was always to be an entrepreneur. I just knew I had to go through the steps. And my dad always says, hey, son, if you go get your college education, you'll probably never need it. But if you get your college education, you always have something to fall back on.
Oh, that's good.
So I took his advice. He was successful. And my grandpa had his education. My nana had her education. So our whole family is educators. And they always said the same thing. If you always, no matter what you do, you have your education to fall back on. So you can go get that job, restart up if you needed to. But that, I don't have a plan B. So a lot of people come in here and they say, I have these fancy plan B options. Fuck plan Bs. You go all in.
Yeah.
So there's no plan B in my world.
No, that's good.
So there's only a plan A. And plan A is make it work. And sometimes you got to work for free. A lot of times you got to work for free. I worked for free for many of years. And you're going to put long hours in. A lot longer than 40. If you're putting 40 hours in as an entrepreneur, you're probably going to be just a normal statistic and then it doesn't make it. So you're going to need, a typical day looks like for me, if you want to go down that path, is I wake up, I'm in a different position now than I used to be. So in your case, right now everything's new.
Yeah.
You're new in the entrepreneurship world. I've been with you pretty much from day one, where you're talking about it at baseball practice to you were kind of dabbling in it. You didn't even really know. When I was watching you were dabbling in it when you're doing private lessons.
Oh, yeah, that's good. Yeah.
And I was like, okay, this guy has a fire in him. He's showing up on time. The kids like him. He's personable. He's fair. He wasn't watching the time clock 24/7. I was like, okay. Then we started to get to know each other, and I was like, okay, this guy's going to probably do it. So our relationship progressed and started power washing in Tulsa.
Yeah, yeah. We built that company sitting in a hot tub. It was me, you, and Thomas. We were in Breckenridge, Colorado, and I was talking about being an entrepreneur, and you're like, well, we could do this. And then Thomas was like, well, what about power washing? And I was like, you know what? Like, I started thinking about it, building on it. I remember getting into the airport. We were sitting there. I walked into the bathroom, and I was like looking at myself in the mirror, and I'm like, I can do this. Like, that sounds like very dramatic, but that's literally what happened. I used the restroom, and I got out. I was washing my hands. I looked at myself in the mirror, and I was like, I could do this. And then I walked out. 3 days later, I sold my Camaro, bought a truck, and I was like, I'm going all in on this thing. Like, I went and got a new car payment just after on a car that I had already paid off. So I knew it wouldn't be realistic in the field that I need. I need something that was going to pull a trailer and do those things. So I sold my Camaro and got the power washing truck. And then I started talking to you, and you were like, go talk to Eric. And then I started doing Eric's trucks. And then after that, I did that for about a month. And then you were like, okay, if you really want to do this, like, you can be my partner, but I'm not easy to work with. I'm not easy to work for. I'm not easy to. Once we do this, we're married. That's how you phrase it to me.
Partnership is a marriage.
Yeah, we become married at that point. Like, there is no breaking the trust. Like, we roll together. And you were like, I'm going to push you, and everything that you said is held up, right? So that's what's been kind of great to see over the last So I started that in March. So we're coming up on 10 months. It's 10 months now. We're about to be at a full year in 2 months from now. So
yeah, don't let him lie to you folks. When he started out, he was out there scrubbing the trucks, and we're in the freaking trash and porta potty industry still, right? So he's cleaning shit off trucks.
Yeah.
Literally shit.
yeah,
And it was cold and it was hot. And just because we were friends, I still have that. I have higher expectations for my friends and family. I'm harder on them. If you're really close to me, I'm probably gonna be even more of. I'm gonna probably be a lot harder on you than some blowjo that I don't believe in.
Yeah.
Because I want you to be successful. You know what I mean? I want you, because you're successful, rub off on me. You know what I mean? That energy rubs off on me too. You know what I mean? Like, holy crap, he's killing it. I got to pick up my game. He's going to catch me.
Yeah.
Because I'm a competitive person just like you are. You and I play sports and all kinds of pickleball right here behind us. I haven't won yet. But
I'll stop lying.
I don't like losing at anything. So, putting yourself around highly competitive people, they're also going to push you. So don't look at it as hey, it's an internal competitor. No, look at it as, in my opinion, when you choose your partners and you choose the people you want to be around, look at it as these guys are going to be, and eventually they're going to be bad mofos, and they're going to be pushing you to the limits.
Yeah, that's good.
That's
good. So now we're on the track of mentorship. So that's kind of what you're alluding to a little bit. So what made you want to become like a mentor, or is it just something that you kind of fell into? Because like I know for me, being on the side that's receiving the mentorship, I think it's like extremely impactful to my life. I think that I've learned a lot in the last 10 months, things that I wouldn't have learned by myself. So I know how powerful being or having a mentor is. Being on the other side of that, like at what point or at any point did you think, hey, I'm going to be a mentor, or did you just kind of fall into it?
I don't think anybody ever goes into anything trying to say, hey, I'm going to be a mentor. Not any true entrepreneur, in my opinion. I think it's one of those deals. You want people around you to be successful. You want people to take their journey to the next level, right? You see their families that you love. When your wife and my wife, developed a relationship, and Eric and other people I'm around 24/7. You want those people to be successful in your life, and it's going to be very, 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 very tough going down a different path. So. But folks, most people don't have it. That's a tough lesson I had to learn. Not everybody is meant to be an owner. Not everybody is meant to go through the grind.
That's good.
Right? And you don't have to be an owner to be successful. Let's get that straight. Not everybody wants the same. And that's another thing I had to learn, going through this process. I can't push everybody the same.
Yeah.
I can't push you the same that I can push myself, right? You have a different background. You're a different culture and a bunch of different aspects in there. I can't push you the same. You're going through you're 10 years younger than me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can't, or a little less than 10 years younger than me. I can't, you're going through a different life cycle than I am in my life right now. So, and then going through this, helping people out, and I don't consider myself a mentor. What I say is I help people stay in their lane and not try to make the same mistakes I did. That's all I try to do. I don't ever go into this thing and say, oh, I'm a mentor, or hey, I do. No. At the end of the day, I want people to be successful. And if I can give them advice and save them some money, save them some heartache, save them some time, and let them know that things that I have done that did not work, or some things I've done that has worked, and share contacts I've developed over a period of time, why not? Yeah. In my opinion, why not progress at speed for them and not have to go through the same grind I did? Because a lot of mine was research on my own. Like, I'll just give you an example. When I went and started my first company, it was Aim to Please, right? I didn't know how to build signs. I didn't know what vinyl stickers were. I didn't even know how to build a business plan, folks. I had to go to the local SBA it was sponsored by the government at Northeastern State, a local college here, and there was a gentleman by the name of John Blue that helped me write a business plan, that helped me put 3-year projections in. And that loan was for $50,000, and all I had was $5,000 at the time. So I put the $5,000, got the $50,000, bought some equipment, and used porta potties. They were disgusting, and started renting. So the ultimate goal for me is the people that I'm around, and I'm going to meet new people. I want them to be as successful as I can, because if I build my network and they're all successful and they're all pushing it, that just makes me stronger too. And if you're my partner, it's just going to make me more money ultimately.
Yeah. I remember sitting out at the baseball fields, and me and you would have conversations, and then I think probably about after like 2 months of me just like picking your brain, I remember looking at Ashley, which is your wife. I remember looking her in the face, and I was like, he's gonna be my mentor. And then she was like, oh yeah, I think she kind of thought I was joking. I was like, no, he's gonna be my mentor. And like, he didn't even know it yet. I knew like at that point I had decided like, this is somebody that like I want to do some of the things that he's done. He's been where I'm at. He has that track record of being successful doing those things. I was like, so I'm going to pick every inch of his brain to get the information that I need. And I think as a young entrepreneur or young, I don't know, just being young adult, just doing anything in life, I think it's key to find those people that are doing the things that you want to do and that are in the position that you want to be in. And start picking their brain, because those people have already, like you said earlier, like you want to take people and maybe make them miss some of the hurdles that you've had to jump over.
Exactly.
So those people have already gone through those pains. So like, why would I not? Okay, like if he's done that, like if I just ask him this question, he's willing to answer it. Okay, cool. Now I know that I don't have to do that step, or I can be hard headed and still go try to do that step, and then be like, dang, Josh was right. I should have never went down this path, kind of thing.
Exactly. And I think, guys, ladies, doesn't matter who you are or where you're from, religion, culture, color, I don't care. It doesn't matter if you're rich now, poor, whatever. Go big. Mm-hmm. I think I sold myself short way too long, right? I had a large number I wanted to hit by 30. I hit it by 25. But I see so many entrepreneurs that did not grow up rich and they didn't have all these privileges, right? That they think small. And I think once you get in that cycle and you start thinking big, I think you did the same thing when you very first started. You're like, man, if I can just get, those are milestones. You need to hit those milestones, but think big. Now, just to give you an example, folks, he came into my office, Devin came to my office, which is where we're sitting today. And I think you did what, $900,000 in quotes?
1.2 million.
1.2 million. It was 900,000 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Right? So you did $1.2 million in landscape quotes in a million population, right? Mm-hmm. And it's January 18th of 2024.
Yeah, and that's all just from 2024.
Yeah, 2024, starting January 1st to now, he did $1.2 million in quotes. Our goal is what? 1.6, right? $1.6 million in quotes. It's going to force him to go through the motions. It's going to force him to think big, and something's going to hit.
Yeah.
Right?
Eventually I'm going to land one of them.
You already landed one.
Yeah.
Your first one.
Yeah. It was small, but it was a victory.
But it's bigger than a $40 mower.
100%.
Right? You landed what was it? $30,000?
$38,000.
$38,000 job. First one, $38,000. He went big. He listened to what I was pushing him. Mm-hmm. He was a little hesitant.
Yeah.
But he went in there, listened, and he's bidding on these bigger jobs. It just takes one big job to change your life.
And I think it's crazy because you're talking about going big, and like my old mindset is when I first started the power washing company, I was like, I need to make $2,500 a month.
Oh yeah,
that's all I need.
That's my gap fill.
Yeah, like I need.
That pays my car payment.
Yeah. That's exactly what I was like. I need to make $2,500 a month, and then I started doing that, and I was like, okay. And then eventually it got up to a couple thousand a month, and then after that, but now like just to point back towards your point of what you're saying, go big. Like I just landed a $38,000 job, and like how did I like phrase it to you? Oh, like yeah, it's a small one, right?
Yeah.
And like I used to like stress over making $2,500 a month, and like then I go land a job that's like tenfold of what that is, and like now my brain has been kind of like recalculated to think like, okay, let's go after these jobs that are a couple $100,000 or a couple this or that or whatever that number may be for you. Like that's where my brain is going. Let's go big, and if I land them, that's like a big win versus like
huge.
Yeah, so that's I think it's
one
just
win changes
everything.
moves the needle, and I always say go after needle movers. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Why spend 10 years trying to go and accumulate all these small counts when these big counts need the same type of services that you're providing at OFS? Yep. So, yeah, like that's one of the things I see a lot of young entrepreneurs, including myself for a very long time. I didn't think big enough. I wasn't giving myself enough credit.
Yeah.
You know, and if you don't think big enough, you're not giving yourself enough credit, what you're not going to do, folks, you're not going to take the risk. You're not going to have the self-confidence to come in there and say, I'm going to go buy that truck that I probably like trying to figure out how I'm going to make that truck payment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm going to go hire that employee that I'm not going to give myself that pay raise. I'm going to hire that employee. He's going to take some pressure off me. Now I can go out there and sell more, right? Think big, or go home.
Yeah.
And you're going to get there, and one day you're going to wake up and be like, why isn't more people doing this?
Yep. No, that's true. Like, so like, I think that was one of my biggest things going into it was I would sit there and I would like ask myself, like, how do I do this? And like, I think that's why I wanted to start this podcast, step-by-step podcast, to tell people like how to take those steps, because for me, it was just like, I knew this is what I wanted to do, but I didn't know how. And so I would just sit there and like, just go over and over and bang my head up against the wall until I like, cause me, I have a wife, I have a baby on the way. I had 2 car payments at the time.
Oh yeah.
I had a house payment at the time, which is like all these debts that people incur. And then at the time, so I was sitting there, I was thinking to myself, like, I can't just afford just to go take a huge risk. So like, if I was going to do it, I needed to make sure that it was calculated, and I understood like what I was getting into. And I think that's where a lot of people get caught up today, is like thinking that like it's a lot harder or bigger than what it actually is, when in reality, like, it is hard. So don't get me confused when I say that, but it's not as bad as what you think. As long as you like know what you're getting yourself into and you're willing to work and grind at it, do it. And whether that's being an entrepreneur or whatever it is, like, people are doing it so that it can be done. But the thing is, you just have to be willing to take that risk and take that step and get out of your comfort zone.
It's funny because you see, I always like looking at immigrants and stuff. Like, I have a friend of mine that he's from Romania. Shout out to Sren, but and many of others I've seen. It seems like when they come over here, they have nothing to lose. They come over here for the American dream, but there's so many Americans not living the dream.
Yeah.
They're not willing to take that risk and go all in because they feel like they have something to lose.
Yeah.
And I told you that 1,000 times. If you didn't grow up rich like I didn't, right? And after many conversations, I always say, what do you have to lose?
Yep.
You have everything to gain and not much to lose. So, and then another thing you're going to learn once you dive in full blown in the entrepreneurship world, things are going to change, man. He started out with power washing, and he was all in on power washing. We bought a drone, we bought a truck, we bought soft wash, we got really good at it. And the next thing you know is he's in lawn care and landscape. A different opportunity presented itself.
Yep.
I always say this over and over and over again. You're never going to hit the ball if you don't step up to the plate.
Yep.
He stepped up to the plate. He had a chance. He was playing the game. And then next thing you know, he's over at OFS, and he's a partner at OFS, and he's going to change OFS's trajectory.
Yep.
Right? So you got to get in the game. There's going to be many and many more opportunities for Devin sitting over here. And he's probably going to have a Devin just like yourself that he's going to be investing in one of these days, or your son or your daughter or whatever it may be, brother, sister. You know what I mean? You're going to be helping other people out. And that's the whole point of this is to build your own circle up and then go all in.
Yeah.
And don't waste your time with another thing too. I was taking advice with people that never did anything. I would be like, hey, what would you think about this? And then I'll be looking, that's not the life I want to live.
Yeah.
Why am I asking that guy?
Yeah.
I need to be asking the guy that has the house, the car, and the lifestyle I want, because he's already doing it. He's already figured out the formula, and he already knows what it takes.
Yeah, that's good. That's
so
really good.
just skip those steps. Just go straight to the source. You know what I mean? Like, hey, that's the kind that guy looks like that looks like something I want.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's just go talk to that guy.
Yeah. No, that's good advice. I think if you're going to take anything from it, I think that would be the biggest piece of this whole thing right now is make sure you go to people who are doing what you want to do and they have that proven track record. And that's why Josh is the person that I went after. So if you could name a time, Josh, what would be like one big piece of advice and like struggle that you went through, and how did you like overcome that?
Oh. Whew. I remember sitting one day at my desk. I didn't even have enough money to buy a desk. I used my kitchen table. And I was sitting there one day, and I bought all these toilets. I got my loan, got my truck from Colorado, bought everything wrong because I feel like I did a lot of research. I was sitting there, rented out these toilets and through my brother. And my brother's contractor he was working for ended up going belly up. Well, that was the reason why I got into the business, because I had a good contract going into it. Well, not only did they not pay my bill, I didn't have any customers because I had to go pick up all my porta potties. So I had all these payments coming in. I had truck payment, porta potty payment, and that was the day I remember sitting there at my desk with Ashley, and I had tears come down my eyes like, freak, what am I going to do? You know what I mean? I got these bills. I have no money. I don't even have enough money to pay my house payment. I was sitting there. I was like, formula or meat eat. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to figure this out. So I strapped up 2 porta potties on the back of my truck every day. I was like, every day I go out, I'm going to figure out how to get these 2 things off my truck. And I did that for a couple years and built that thing back up. And I realized then that I can do it. So you're going to run into some very, 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 very tough complications going through this entrepreneurship world. Never give up. Don't ever give up. The day that you give up is the day that you lose the battle. So if I would say to anybody, it doesn't matter how smart you are or how smart you think you are or how much money you got, just never give up. Think about it 24/7. Anybody that knows me knows I'm thinking about my business 24/7.
That's facts.
If anybody that knows me, I'm sitting at my son's game and I'm looking at real estate on my phone. I'm sitting at my son's game. I'm thinking how we're going to make that route a little bit more efficient, how we're going to redesign that yard, what location we're going to next. Hey, Devin, I got this idea. What do you think about this? I'm thinking about it 24/7. You know why? I'm not that smart. So
don't discount yourself, dude.
You might outsmart me, but you're not going to outwork me.
That's good.
So, and never give up. If I say anything ever, do not ever give up. Ever give up.
That's good. That's good. So now this is a new part of the show where I call it flip the script. So now you get to ask me 1 or 2 questions, and then I'll answer them from my point of view.
So let's flip that script.
Yeah.
So what, in your eyes, I've never probably asked you some of these questions. In your eyes, at this point in time, has been a make or break for you?
Ooh, okay.
What has been that barrier where you're like, this is just mine. I might just go back to my old ways. I might go to the IT job.
Okay.
I might go back to the IT job. He doesn't even look like an IT guy, folks. He told me he was getting an IT. I was like, what?
Man, no.
You're doing what? Cybersecurity?
There was a point in time. Actually, this has happened twice, but I don't think I've ever thought that I'm going back. Because once I've like kind of taken that leap of faith and started doing it, I was like, this is what I'm going to do forever. Regardless if I work with you or another business partner or anything along those lines, like I'm not going to go back to working for someone. But there was twice that this has happened. One was probably like July or August, right? I was trying to hit $20,000 in sales with power washing. And like I just couldn't get over that hump of like $15,000 a month, and I was just like, man, this is really like hard. And I was just sitting there really just like racking my brain, and then it was starting to slow down at that time because now people have already got all the stuff that they wanted power wash and this, that, and the third. So now I'm like trying to make big sales. I'm going after like OSU Tulsa and all these things like that, and none of that stuff was just hitting. Like none of it was. And then like I'm having to go back to you, and you're just like, keep pushing, do this, do that, do this, do that. And then like I'm like sitting here trying to figure out how to overcome this barrier that I'm going into, but at the same time still continue to grow the company. Mm-hmm. And I didn't hit the 20,000. I never got to that mark. Did I get close? Yeah, I got close, but it was one of those things I had to overcome that like, okay, like just because I didn't hit that goal doesn't mean I'm not cut out for this. And that was something that I had to like mentally like wrap my brain around, like, okay, like I didn't hit that goal yet, but that doesn't mean that I'm not cut out to where I'm supposed to be. And I had to keep pushing. The second time was when I first got over to OFS, and then I started there, and it was like, I went from learning I just got comfortable doing power wash. I'm like, all right, cool. I just figured this game out. I'm killing the power washing game. And now I was like, wait, now I have to learn like 10 other services. I have to learn landscaping, irrigation. I have to learn street sweeping. I have to learn, we still do power washing over there, turf installation, all types of other different services. I'm just like, I literally just got done learning one service, and that took me 5 months. So that was a big learning curve, because I felt like I was drinking out of a fire hose, and it was just tough because it was like I still had expectations for myself, and then my partners also still had expectations for me. So it's the fact that I wasn't being productive for 2-3 months because I was still trying to learn everything, and I was trying to figure out where I was supposed to be and how I was supposed to go about the target market and just things like that. But did I never think I was going to quit? No, never that. But it was just one of those things I was like, this is hard. Like, this is really...
It's hard.
Yeah, I was like, this is hard. And then it was just one of those things, like, because I felt like I was failing myself. Like, I think that was the biggest thing. Like, I was failing, but not only was I failing, like, my partners, I was failing myself, and then who relies on me? My wife relies on me. My future kids rely on me. So I think that was probably the 2 hardest things I've gone through so far. And it was just those 2 moments of, like, this is hard. And like you're trying to reach something that's so big, but like you're like feel like you're just not getting there.
I got to tell you a story real quick about Devin, about his entrepreneurship world. This is going to be hilarious.
Oh my gosh.
So he gets this job. We go all in. I say, hey, let's think about something innovative nobody else has. So we buy this expensive power washing drone. And this thing is bad to the bone, folks. I mean, we're the only ones that have it in the Midwest. And I was like, hey, look, let's go after the largest client. And it was a very, very, very nationwide apartment client. They have commercial buildings, apartment complexes, whatever. So Devin worked his resources, got in with this guy, this company, and they gave him opportunity. And it was on a Sunday, right after church. Ashley and I were driving down the road. And I look over and I see this freaking blue truck. I was like, hey, that's power washing in Tulsa. That's Devin out there. And I knew he was going to power wash. I didn't know it was on Sunday. And I pull over. I was like, holy crap, he got freaking this company, a very large company. And I'll keep that very private. But goes out there. Things are going great. Ashley and I go to lunch. I go see my grandparents down the road. Come back by. That power washing drone's up in the air. That truck's looking good. Everything's good. Killing it. Go home. I was like, damn, that thing really does work.
Yeah.
We're going to kill this.
Yeah, killing it.
Go home, sit on the couch. My phone rings. Devin, I was like, okay, finish the job. I was like, we're about to get some more work, right? He didn't want to say anything. He's like, hey, that drone fell out of the sky. I was like, you say what? He goes, I don't know, man. I said, did you hit the tree? He was like, no, it just falls out of the sky. And I mean by fall out of the sky, folks, I'm talking about like 6 stories up, this thing fell out of the sky. And falls out of the sky, crashes, and I could tell you were nervous to tell me.
Oh man, I was I don't know if nervous was the word. I was just like, man, what did I do?
I was like, I wanted to cry.
Yeah, I think I was shocked more than anything.
So I was like, folks, you're going to go into issues like that. You're going to be like, man, I got this figured out. Things are going to go great. And all of a sudden, boom, it just drops out of the sky. And I've been there, done that. You don't freak out. I didn't freak out on you.
No, I was kind of shocked.
I was like, we'll fix it. We have insurance. We bought the drone insurance.
Yeah.
And we got that thing back up and going. Well, it gets better. You don't know everything. That's why you have to start, folks, because you're going to learn things as you go. You're not going to be able to do all the research and development you need to do and filter out all the mistakes that you can't calculate, right? He burnt the trees. Yeah. He burned all the trees around this, put too much bleach in it, and all the trees and all the bushes burn up too.
And the grass was all tore up. It was.
So not only did he not finish the job, I'm probably one of our largest potential clients. He burnt the trees, burnt the grass, and wrecked the drone.
Yeah, but but that quarter of the building that I did looked outstanding.
I still drive by. I was like, damn, that looks good. Yeah, that side looks like crap.
That quarter of the building looked
outstanding. That tree's dead though. So. Yeah. Testament to him. He didn't let that knock him down. He pulled through it. Yeah. So good job for you. And we got a new drone.
Yeah, we did get a new drone because it was not my fault. The drone company took full responsibility because it lost GPS signal and it had nothing to do with me. So let that go on record. Last thing, and we'll wrap this up. Let's just summarize everything that we talked about. If you could summarize it in 5 steps to taking that leap of faith and chasing your dreams, what would be the 5 steps that you would have? Like, for instance, mine was seek knowledge, go to your support staff, figure out what it is that you want to do, cut out all the BS, and then take that step.
I would say if you would ask me that 4, 5, 6 years ago, or even when I started, it's completely different than it is now. Being a little bit more seasoned, been through the ringer, been there, done that. I still got a lot to learn, folks. I still have a lot to learn. I still make a lot of mistakes myself in all different facets. I would say the 5 steps. Number 1, be on the same page with your significant other. You have to be on the same page because it is a freaking grind.
Yep.
Right? So I didn't realize how big of a grind it was starting this, and I'm assuming you didn't either.
Yeah.
If you have that support at home, if you don't have a significant other, look yourself in the mirror and understand that you're never going to quit. So be on the same page with your significant other. Number 2, quit making excuses. I hear so many times, I don't have enough money. It's not the right timing. If I could just do this. Folks, it doesn't really matter what widget is. Quit making excuses. Start. So get rid of the excuses.
That's good.
Number 3, after you are on the same page and you get rid of the excuses, get rid of all the distractions because you're not going to have time for them anyway.
Yep.
Right? All those fake friends you thought you had, and all those toys you thought you were going to be able to utilize, and all those other things that take up your time, they're probably going to go bye-bye for a period of time. So get rid of the distractions. Number 4, I would say start. Start. That means put your plan into action. Your plan is going to change. You notice I didn't say go in there and make the perfect plan. There's not such thing as a perfect plan. Things change. Yeah. Start doing something.
Yeah, that's good.
It's going to force you to learn finance. It's going to force you to learn podcasts. It's going to force you to learn whatever widget and service or whatever you're wanting to get into. Start. You start playing the game. You start learning. It forces you to learn. And then the last one I would say, and I said it earlier, have the mentality that no matter what obstacle is going to face your way, no matter how sick you get or how broke you get or how many times you fail, you will never lose if you never give up. There's going to be something at some point in time that is going to hit. And when it hits, if you think big and you go at it and you're honest and you got good character, it's going to hit big and it's going to change your life forever. So you have to have that mentality that you're never going to give up.
That's good. That's good. Well, I appreciate you, Josh, for being on the podcast. Next episode is going to be probably in about a week from now. Actually, I don't like that. Well, thanks, Josh, for being on the episode and joining me on my podcast, the Step by Step podcast. I think that a lot of the information that you gave today should be taken to heart for some people. I think this can be utilized across all industries, whether it's entrepreneur or if they're trying to be a teacher, doctor, whatever that looks like for them. So I don't want people to take what you said for a grain of salt. And if they can just grab one thing out of what you said, I think that makes this worth it. So
don't forget to subscribe to Devin's podcast.
Yeah, subscribe to the Step by Step podcast.